When we started thinking about the opportunity that Fulbright has offered out there to the community of educators, we had to examine what are those areas where improvement of the available curricula can happen, can be done. And we were right away struck by the not lack, but insufficiency in the presence of diversity in our curricula, meaning representation of the rich diversity of India. Emphasis on that diversity is what we thought was missing, and we had to figure out a way to plug in those elements of this diversity that we didn't see in the existing textbooks and developed curricula. So we decided that the underrepresented, the marginalized communities of India might be an interesting sort of object of our study. And the more we thought about it, the more we started reading about the underrepresented communities, the more we were convinced that this is the way and this is our focus. Why? Because actually, they're the ones who we knew will give us a window into something that might be disappearing, not only in India, but also all over the world, which is the traditional ecological knowledge. We don't want to say that the scientific ecological knowledge is in opposition to the traditional. But in the scientific ecological knowledge, the tradition, the culture, the loyalty, the sentiments, the sense of gratitude and reciprocity towards nature is missing. And that is exactly what we thought we should focus on during our trip in India. That is why we chose Nainital, where the community suffers today a natural disaster. And this is the mud sliding that's happened many times and has taken a lot of victims. But it is also a growing community that unfortunately has done deforestation, overconstruction, using of non-natural materials like concrete, has changed the whole environment, natural environment of the place, has entered into the habitat of the jungle and the wild animals, has decreased their area for living, and has polluted socially their own society. So animals and people are competing for resources. But not only that, climate change, and they call them bursting clouds, have caused a lot of damage, further damage. And pollution because of lack of awareness, and also because of sheer number of people coming in and out, living or coming to live in Nainital, is why we decided to go there. We met with organizations that mobilize the local community. They organize walk through the jungles in order to explain the symbiosis, the integration between everything living on this planet. These organizations also help the poor. They help them with food, they help them with warm clothes, but they also mobilize the young community to come and clean the Nainital lake, which has been polluted, and explain why certain particular trees need to be planted around the lake in order to filter the water. So this was a very unique experience for us because it taught us how, when disaster is happening, how the community works to help each other, how the community mobilizes the youngsters to make sure that more damage is not done. Next, we went to Dehradun, where we met with the team and Dr. Vandana Shiva herself. We spent several days there in their compound. We learned a lot about organic farming, about local seeds preservation, and about how her organization has helped local farmers to support their families with organic crops. She also explained to our group the big war with the big corporations that are giving ready-made fertilizers to the local farmers. One little story: two farmers say hello to each other and they touch hands. One's hands are very dry and definitely worn out, and the other ones are not. And the first one asked the second one, "How come your hands are so soft?" And he says, "I don't use fertilizers that are not natural." So in a way, we met with a lot of the farmers themselves, and they told us how the local institution that she has founded, organization that she has founded, has supported them and continues to support them. They have created a bank of local seeds, and they are training their staff and the community to continue the traditional way of producing what is needed for food and for the way nature-based solutions happen in order to protect the crops. There are signs all over that job in the city is a guarantee. Still, the youngsters now have the option to stay and not be hungry. And this way, migration to the city has decreased in that particular area around Dehradun. We also visited the Wadli community in Dahanu area, and that was a totally different experience. We were among artists. It is a society of artists, and through art, education happens. And that is exactly the traditional ecological knowledge that we saw on their paintings. Their understanding of the bond with nature, their understanding of how nature serves humans and how humans serve nature. We visited several houses, we visited several schools, we talked to the local people, we saw how they live, we saw their sustainable life. Their sustainable life is no waste life. Their sustainable life is making sure that no natural resources are depleted because they are needed. Their sustainable life is making sure that the tradition of understanding the local flora and fauna is given to the students. Whether this is done in the schools is a different story. But those paintings that we saw, the variety of them, the themes that they have, they are the ones representing exactly this traditional ecological knowledge. And these are models of sustainability that have been tested for ages. In Rajasthan, we saw something else. We saw something that was tested only a few decades, and even in a village only 6 years. And it changed the landscape of Rajasthan, and it changed the color of Rajasthan. The soil, the proportion between soil and water that you see on the surface and that you see under the surface. So we came in Rajasthan 4 days ago. We saw very interesting different systems of harvesting water from not the rivers, but from rain. And this is something very unique that Tarun Bharat Sangh is doing here in Rajasthan. However, today is our last day in Rajasthan, and this is the most interesting place. I would say the most unbelievable place, because we are almost in a desert area, but there are these pockets where water has been built, different lakes have been designed, have been built by the local farmers themselves, based on the advice that they received from Tarun Bharat Sangh. And they themselves claim that their life now is much better than 10, 15, 20 years ago, because they have more food, they have more water, and they have more happiness and more opportunities for their kids as well. So it is, we're grateful that we have this opportunity through the grant by Fulbright, because it is an opportunity to see something with our own eyes. We wouldn't have believed if we would have seen it only on pictures or on video. It is unbelievable what people have been able to do here, and the achievements of something that goes against the climate change. This is just something that I think our students need to know about. Thank you.